Hi, it's Sabina from Scratch, and this is our first free of charge web audit for the rainforest. This is a new initiative that we're launching to support protection of the Australian rainforest. And this is how it works. Organizations, brands, NGOs working towards the Sustainable Development Goals can apply for a free audit of one of their web pages. That's one URL. In exchange for protecting at least 1 square meter of rainforest through our partnership with B1G1. And the first one to take advantage of this offer was Alessandra from Live More Offline. Live More Offline is a company offering talks, workshops, and retreats to help people detach from their digital devices, find a healthy balance in how they use their devices. And as the name says, live more offline. We should be addicts or victims of the online world, constantly glued to our screens. And Alessandra's company helps people with that. So the SDG that she supports with her work is good health and well-being. Great one to start with, especially at the beginning of the year. And the page that she asked me to look at is the sales page for her digital detox retreat. So I'm going to show you what the audit looks like that I did for Alessandra, talk you through all the different things that I've found in a kind of summarizing fashion. Otherwise, we might spend hours together. And I'm also going to show you how I've rewritten a crucial bit on that page to make it perform better, because after all, this is all about conversion. It's about getting people to take action. And that could be that action about buying something like booking the retreat, or it could be signing up to the newsletter, or it could be as simple as adopting a new thought, a new belief, a new idea. All of this all of these are examples of conversion. And in this case, we have the application for more information about the retreat as the action that we want people to take. Let's dive in. So this is what Alessandra will see when she clicks on the link. It's basically a mirror image of her existing web page, with the one difference that we have this line here, this bar at the bottom, where you can toggle between browsing mode, which allows you to click any of the links and buttons, or comment mode, which brings up all of these blue bubbles. And each one of them can be clicked. So for example, this one, number 4, if I click that, I get this little sidebar here where it says this use of scarcity to early booking places remaining may be effective, but it should be used very sparingly. That's just a general comment. Whenever I see scarcity like this, on the one hand, I know it works. On the other hand, there are some ethical concerns attached to that. So I just want to raise awareness for that fact in this case. And Alessandra will be able to also use this button for all 20 comments to display. So if I go on back here, I can work my way through all of them. Each one of these comments is a, you can see the exact screenshot that the program took when I left my comment, just in case something changes in between. The comments can be resolved. Alessandra can leave a reply and walk her way through all of these different comments. But I don't want to distract you with all of these different comments. I just want to walk you through the page. One of the questions that Alessandra had for me is, isn't it too much copy? And let's quickly scroll through it. So this is the very top of the page. Apologies for this logo being a little bit blurry. It usually isn't. It's really just when I import the website into this program. When I scroll through, yes, there is copy. It's not a short page. I would say it's probably a medium length page. But my answer to you, Alessandra, if you're asking this, should it be less copy, is it should not. If anything, the page doesn't have enough copy to really make a convincing sale. I think a lot of people think that short always equals good. We've been trained to believe in concision, in short messages. And while I totally agree that we shouldn't waste a single word, I think a lot of the copy here would benefit from being expanded a little. It would benefit from going a bit deeper, showing more empathy with the reader, really pulling out all the detail and talking about the experience in a way that makes every detail of what you're designing here sparkle. That way you will really get that emotional resonance with people. People will see themselves already taking the retreat while they're reading it. And then at the end of the page, they'll think, oh, this was a nice thought experiment. I really want to book this now, because they've already felt everything that they want to feel when they're actually there. And this is how our brains work. You know, one of the secrets of good storytelling is that all of the elements that we pull in from the real world, all of the feelings, the how did it feel in the body, all of the descriptions of nature, for example, all of that really works in our brains as if we were in that scene, as if we saw the trees, as if we heard the birds, as if it was our stomach rumbling, as if it was our shoulders tightening. You know, all of these things really work in our brains to create that holistic experience. And so that's a powerful thing to do on a sales page, to really let the person experience the beauty of the retreat you've designed for them. That's more of a general comment. Let's have a look at what that means in practice. Starting at the very top of the page, the first thing I would say is, this is a very good description of what this page is about, but it's also very matter of fact. The headline Digital Detox Retreat doesn't really sell the experience to me, because it's not about me. It's not about my goals that I want to achieve with a retreat like this. It's not about the pain that I'm experiencing at the moment. It doesn't really relate to me in my life as the person that you want to book on your retreat. So it's fine to use Digital Detox Retreat in your headline, or even as eyebrow copy above your headline, or as a subhead underneath your headline. But do choose a headline that is really evocative and makes me want to read the entire rest of the page. And this is a comment that applies to a lot of the copy decisions you've made in putting this together. It's often very matter of fact, very rational. But we need to remember that when people make a buying decision, it's not a decision they make with their heads. They may say they make their decisions rationally, but they never do. Decisions are always made emotionally and then backed up rationally. So you need to talk to both their hearts and their minds, get them through all the sensory detail, through all of the evocative language, through tapping into their experience of their everyday life. That's how you create that emotional bond, and then give them the facts that they need to tell, for their rational mind to also feel satisfied that there are facts to back up why this is such a good choice for them. Right, moving on. We have one little sentence here, starting to build a little bit of a burning platform, tapping into the pain of the person who this is perfect for. I think it's not quite enough. You should really dive a bit more into the pain of the person who you want to book this. So take a couple of paragraphs, if you will. You can, or at least 3 to 5 sentences. Think of the pattern that we often use in copywriting, which is called PAS, pain, agitation, solution. So before you offer your retreat, which is the solution, you first want to really show them that you know exactly what their pain is or their problem. And how do you show them that you really understand it? Well, by poking around in the wound a little bit, ethically, but by just showing them, what does this mean in practice? If I'm constantly connected to email, digital, and social media, and it takes its toll on my well-being, what does that mean in practice? Does it mean that I spend dinner looking at my phone and my significant other keeps complaining about my lack of attention? Does it mean that I forget important things because I'm just not listening, because I'm actually checking Instagram? What does it look like, you know? How does it feel? Really dive into that. Allow yourself a little bit of play with that before you offer your retreat. And sometimes I know this feels heavy and it feels unfair as well, you know, making it feel even worse than it already does. If that's you, then maybe just flip it. Don't talk so much about the pain. Talk about the desire instead. Start your whole page with a what if sentence. If you're uncomfortable with what if, you may want to just write it at the top, then write all of your copy, and then see if you can rephrase it at the end. But it's a really useful tool in imagining, what do they actually want? What's the desire that drives the purchase? So allow yourself either some space for exploration of pain or exploration of desire before you offer your retreat. Then the other thing I just want to say about the header is, you've got beautiful images here. Some of them are a bit low resolution, but I would recommend not using a sliding gallery like this, because it doesn't allow me to dive into the image and really experience the beauty of what you're showing me here. I would recommend just having individual images, either after this header or as part of the header, maybe even as a background picture behind your main headline, or just peppering them throughout the page, but having them really big and kind of in line with the text, not as little bits that displace some of the text and make the reading experience a little bit awkward, because my eyes have to do this meandering thing now. All your text should be aligned to the left of the page, except for the headlines, because they can be centered to attract a bit more attention and structure the page. I wasn't sure about the find out more button, because when I click it, it makes me skip a lot of information and takes me straight to the cost. That means there's no opportunity for me to take in what's so great about the retreat. I have a little bit of information and then immediately, bang, there's the cost. That's not necessarily a smooth sales argument. So I would recommend leaving off the button, just removing it. Or if you want to have this because people like to have a button in the hero section, then have a picture underneath the find out more button and just skip, not until the very end of the page, but just until the next paragraph. Just skip one picture, and then you can at least see how many people want to find out more in your analytics, and it won't break the experience. They will still get all of the information. If you're worried about having too much copy on your sales page, just remember this one thing. If you structure the copy really well with good headlines, with subheaders, with some of the text being bold to pull out what it's about, people are clever. They will skim the text, they will skip sections, they will find what they're really interested in. They will be able to scroll to the bottom of the page and take action if they're already fully sold on the idea. You're not really going to lose a lot of people just because your page is too long. If it's structured appropriately, if it doesn't look like hard work, and if main thing, it's written so it's fun to read. You want people to feel this is pleasurable and not hard work. That's really the key to writing a good long page, thinking about how can I make this a pleasure to read. Right. Part of that is breaking up text like this. This is a big chunky paragraph that's very difficult to read because the lines are very close to each other. The sentences are quite long. The paragraphs are quite long. You've got 5 lines here. I would recommend trying to stick to maybe 2 or 3 lines at most. It's totally fine online to just have 1 line of text and then a line break and a new paragraph. Totally fine. Why? Because we have more difficulty reading long bits of text on screen. So it has to be broken up into smaller bits for the eye to be able to stick to the line of text. And then one thing that is also useful is if you can increase the line spacing. I think this is just singular line spacing, but if you make it 1.5 or ideally 1.8 or twice the size of your current one, then it's much easier for the eye to follow the line of text and to read it comfortably. Please don't underline any text on a website that isn't clickable, because it's just a convention. For 30 years, anything that's been underlined on websites was always a link. So this was getting me there for a moment because I thought I could click this. Yeah, and the main thing that I think would be really useful here is if you find a way to work on your fascinations. So fascinations are bullet point lists like these that are really designed to make something stand out, to add that little bit of sparkle and curiosity to what you have to offer. So I rewrote those. Let's have a look at what that looks like. I've prepared a little bit for you here, so I'm just going to pull this up so you don't have to watch me type everything. But I think we should start with the headline here, and we already know it's a retreat, but how can we make this a little bit more tangible? Well, we could just replace it by something quite similar. Why is it not working? Just a moment. Oh, it's not working. I know why it's not working. Give me a moment. This is why. This is why. So here we are. Now it should be working. Just had to reload the page, and here we go. Ooh. Sorry. These things always happen on camera. So this is what I would suggest as a headline here. Maybe in a different font. I find this one a bit tricky to read, and it doesn't really relate to anything else on the page. But 5 days with the power to transform your digital habits. Now, I learned it's 5 days, and the word power is a really powerful word. Transform is a really powerful word. So use words that are evocative in this way to add a little bit of oomph to your headlines. And then this bit here in this retreat, you will work with digital well-being coach Alex. Work sounds a bit like work. Is it really necessary? Is it really necessary? Or can we make this a little bit more practical, a little bit more inviting? So this is how I rewrote it. Learn, so using an imperative form, almost like a call to action, learn how the way we use digital technology can impact every aspect of our lives, from our time, ability to focus, sense of purpose and connection, to the quality of our sleep and relationships. So this is very much like what you already had there, just tightened up a little bit. And then you say what the retreat includes. But again, we can make this more focused on the person reading this by using another imperative, namely, look forward to exciting digital well-being program. Oh, there's an A missing. That will inspire you with knowledge and tools, including. Actually, it should be an N. Right. So, and then you have these bullet points here, and I think they could really use a little bit of extra secret sauce. So, for example, starting straight away with something secret. The secret design techniques used by tech companies to make apps and devices more addictive. You had this as the second point, but the first point and the last point should always be particularly compelling. That way, you're more likely to make the sale. So that's why I chose this should be the first one. First of all, because you've got something secret, and because this is about this addictiveness. It's also telling people, oh, it's not my fault. I can actually forgive myself for this. And here are the other ones that I made, just to speed things up a little bit. How to make sure the time you spend with digital tech truly supports your goals and intentions. proven tips and strategies to, the bullet points don't really translate here. Proven tips and strategies to help you reclaim your time and attention. The key to breaking unwanted habits. This also works with habits in the offline world, just adding these little bits that make it transferable. Proven tips and strategies is a really good one to reuse from time to time. You can make things bold or colorful in here just to draw the eye to one of them. How mindfulness is the key to changing our digital habits. Then here, one about family life, how to convince your kids that there's more to life than YouTube and games. Why we pay more attention to our gadgets than to each other. The exact way to reduce that permanent feeling of being on call 24/7. You'll see how I expanded a lot of the things that were already inside your copy to just make it a little bit more tangible, a bit more everyday life. How to find out whether you or someone you love may be addicted to your phone. Don't know if that's actually part of your program, but I just thought it might be an interesting one. How to endure the feeling of not having easy access to digital devices for an hour a day, or even all of the 5 days we spend together. And this one is the final one in the series for a simple reason, because you can then, this one, sorry about the formatting issue with the bullet points not really translating with the copy and paste, but this one can then lead into, speaking of life without access to digital tech. Now you can tell your story of your walk of the Camino de Santiago, because that's what Alessandra actually did before she had the idea, or where she got the idea for Live More Offline. She did that walk. She spent a lot of time without easy access to digital tech. And I think that story brought in at this point can really help set up this feeling of, she's done it. She's going to be my coach. I want to learn how she did it, what she learned from this. And also it's going to help people to get to know the person guiding them through the experience. And then it's a natural flow to why you're in a remote countryside setting. Why is this even in Spain? Of course, the Camino de Santiago is also in Spain. So this is a nice way of bringing that personal story and features of the offer together into a compelling whole. Just a few more comments. I think it would be great to have a more expansive schedule. So if we have a sample daily schedule here, but there's always a digital wellness session here, which is kind of cloudy. There's not a lot of information about what that might entail. And there's another one here. So if you already know the themes for the different days, I would recommend putting the entire schedule there and saying, okay, Tuesday, which is the first day, the theme is new relationship with our phone. Wednesday, the theme is family life, whatever. And then just putting that together so people can really see, how every day applies to them. And then they will read this and think, I want to know this, I want to know that, I'm curious about this topic. And that will really help them feel like this is worth taking time off for, this is worth paying money for. And taking the risk, because of course it feels like they've never met you. You're offering this retreat. It's kind of cloudy, kind of fuzzy as to what's exactly included. But if you really expand it, there's no perceived risk anymore, because they feel they know everything they could possibly know about why this is beneficial for them. Right, finally, next steps. So this was another question Alessandra had for me, sorry. Is it fine to ask people to get in touch about it, or should she offer them a booking page? Because at the moment there is a booking page, but people only get it once they've gotten in touch with Alessandra. I think it's perfectly fine to do it like this. The only thing I would recommend is not to have next steps here, but to make it a call to action and say, apply for your spot on this retreat. Then really make it exclusive. Tell people that you want to hand select the right group of 12 people max. You want to make sure people will get on with each other and that it's a well-balanced group. And therefore, you want people to get in touch first, and you'll be able to share all the information on a personal conversation on the phone, in real life, via Zoom or Skype or however you want to do it. This has two benefits. It allows you to find out what questions people have, and then add a little bit at the bottom with FAQs, and then you can offer them another button to apply, which is really useful in setting up the sale and closing it. The other thing is that it gives it the flair of exclusivity. And with 12 people, it is a really exclusive event. And a lot of the success of that retreat will depend on whether people are the right mix of people. So I think it's completely fine to ask people to apply and go through a little bit of a conversation with you, because you can then answer any open questions they have. You can counter objections if they have any objections. You can help them work through whatever's holding them back and really build that personal relationship before they sign on for the course, because 5 days, it's a long time if you're with the wrong people. So yeah, that's my audit of Alessandra's retreat page. If you find this interesting, you'll find the link to the actual retreat, of course, in the notes for this. So, maybe something you want to check out. And also do check out the website after Alessandra's had time to listen and read through all of the points I've made, because I'm sure she's going to add a lot more to the page and make it even better. And it might be interesting to watch that transformation of the page as well. Right, if you'd like a free audit for your own page, then best just get in touch with me at the moment, because I've only got the setup at this point for email audits, which you'll find under email audits for the Rainforest in the main navigation under free resources. And the web audit version is going up soon as well. But for the time being, just get in touch with me via the Contact Us page, and we'll be able to set this up for you as well. All right. Bye for now.